The Redmi Note 9T, pushing the boundaries for 5G mid-rangers. So now we have close to premium performance, and this might just turn into one of the hottest deals of 2021. Let's inspect. Hey, welcome, my name is Michael, very nice to see you. What we usually do here is to inspect cool tech like this body. This is the Redmi Note 9T, and that's going to be the device that we're looking into this episode. I've got so many thoughts that I would like to share with you, so I guess I should start somewhere. Well, if you're here to get to know more about the price, the hardware and the software, this is the right place to be. And we're going to talk about each one of these components. Now, this smartphone is pretty interesting because it's one of a kind, the first from the Redmi line that comes with the new Dimensity 800U chipset. Because most smartphones from this and last year are equipped with processors from Qualcomm, so now MediaTek is back with a really decent performance. And I think I'm gonna keep this for a little longer just to figure out how it performs in the long run, but so far the experience provided for the price given is exceptional. The Redmi Note 9T is launched at 230 euros, which is somewhere around $250 plus minus when we consider the taxes. It may never appear on the US market officially, but it might work with most of the operators. The 5G seems to be compatible with AT&T and T-Mobile's networks, given the fact that N5 and N41 bands are supported, but better check if that's really going to be good enough for you before buying the smartphone in the States. The device follows Xiaomi's tradition to release T-series after the major version. A few months ago, I've shown you the Mi 10T Pro, which turned into a blockbuster. I guess the Redmi 9T will follow the same success because it's already successful in China, after it has been revealed a couple of months ago, or at least a very similar looking device. It was launched there as Redmi Note 9 Pro 5G, and the international version here looks quite similar, however has a few differences, and is called the Redmi Note 9T. Let's unbox. This year Xiaomi are switching to a little different alignment with their product line boxing. I guess this kind of package is to be expected for most of their mid-rangers and budget phones. I'm currently testing the Poco M3 and I noticed the exact same sequence. Guide and protector are inside the box at the top. Then comes the phone, and at the bottom compartment you can find the charger and the USB cable. The included protective case is rather thick, covering every possible side of the phone. I shouldn't be saying it, but you can drop it with confidence and it's likely going to survive. The other thing to note about the Redmi Note 9T is the fact it keeps away from glass back. This housing has really a lot in common with the Poco F1 back cover, high-quality polycarbonate with texture so that it doesn't feel slippery and doesn't keep too many fingerprints, so even without a case, you're not going to have to wipe the back every now and then. This means three things: non-slippery phone even without a case, less components that can be potentially broken if you drop it on the ground, and easier replacement of the internal components in case that's needed. If you want to get to know more about the tech specs, the international version packs the following: MediaTek Dimensity 800U chipset, with 4 gigs of RAM regardless of the combination, 64 or 128 gigs storage, triple camera setup with 48 megapixel half-inch main image sensor, 5G, 4G and 3G GSM band supported, 5000 mAh battery, 6.5 LCD dot display, dual speaker, NFC infrared blaster. That's the most important at a glance. It's a decent pack with really good amount of features, apparently nothing inside which is screaming flagship grade, but we shouldn't forget that it costs 1/4 of what the OnePlus 8 Pro is worth. And each one of the components is carefully chosen to be most optimal in its class. To give you some practical examples, CPU performance, which should be similar to what the Google Pixel 5 offers, but the reduced amount of RAM will result in more excessive storage activity, which Xiaomi have balanced with implementing high-grade UFS storage. There's UFS 2.1 with the 64GB version and 2.2 with the 128GB edition, and the performance of the latter one is therefore a bit better. I know what most of you would be asking about. How about the camera performance? Well, I'll show you enough examples, although where it has been pretty bad in the last few days. But anyhow, here's the back setup, and you can see 4 things included in this circle. 3 of them are cameras, the 4th one is the LED. So we've got 3 image sensors, 2 of them 2 megapixels. We have a 2 megapixel depth sensor, 2 megapixel macro camera. The main sensor is 48 megapixels. Not disclosed what's the exact model, but if I had to bet, very likely that's the Samsung GM2 sensor with pixel binning technology and tetrapixel technology both. To put it in simple words, if there's enough light, it uses the full 48 megapixel capacity of the sensor. If it's dark, it will be more like a 12 megapixel sensor so that there is more light reaching each individual pixel. Quality of the images is definitely outstanding at the price point, something I was anyways expecting from a Redmi phone. This right now is the product line and brand offering the most performance and features for the most optimal budget. No surprise that Xiaomi had such a growth in market share in Europe for 2020. The smartphones are unbeatable in terms of all that. So the samples that you're seeing are well reflecting the camera performance. The more light and sunshine outdoors, the closer the results will be when compared to more expensive phones. The darker it gets, the more weaknesses will be exposed, but doesn't mean that the Redmi Note 9T is bad in low light. Quite the opposite. Thanks to the relatively large image sensor, it's putting to shame a lot more other expensive brands, and the camera has a few tricks up its sleeve to offer night mode and plenty of other photo beautification features. I consider the MIUI camera app to be one of the most professional and advanced smartphone camera apps, giving you all the essentials needed, but also satisfying the needs for professionals. Currently, it continues to be the only smartphone app with Pro Mode covering video. There are certain things that Xiaomi have with their app since a long time, and I noticed that OnePlus just now have switched to similar concept for blocking the exposure and the focus, for instance. One of the new nice functions is that you can configure the shutter button to either use the burst function or to record a video. Speaking of video, no image stabilization in 4K, sadly. However, 1080p supports that, and it's pretty good. So here's a vlogging test with the front camera and the microphone test. And if you want to hear a fun fact, the Mi 10 Pro 5G, which was released a year ago and costs nearly €1,000, does not have any image stabilization on the front selfie camera, but this phone, which costs €230, supports that. Next major topic is the battery life. 5000 mAh battery combined with the efficient processor and not too demanding display, resulting close to 2 days of typical usage. MIUI is getting better and better at optimizing the battery consumption, especially at standby. I can for sure confirm that battery endurance was clearly better than what I'm used to get from my daily driver, the OnePlus 8 Pro. Interesting is the charging. The original charger provides up to 18 watt fast charging. Many of you know the quick charge technology, which is certified by Qualcomm, the company that makes the Snapdragon chipsets. Inside, here we have the Dimensity 800U chipset by a company called MediaTek. So their quick charge technology is a little different, but most quick chargers should be capable of giving 3 amps at 5 volts, which is about 15 watt charging, and you should have your battery full in around an hour and a half. Going further, let's talk about the rest of the components while we are exploring the software. Out of the box comes with Android 10, meaning that in the coming weeks there's going to be a major update to Android 11. Since Redmi is a Xiaomi brand, it uses the so-called MIUI, heavily modified and enhanced version of Android, having passed all Google certification and approvals needed and known to be one of the most customizable Android skin. Redmi choice is to put an LCD, a perfectly calibrated LCD, which reminded me a lot about the Mi 10T Pro LCD. The brightness peak levels are not as high as some AMOLEDs, but the colors, they are a lot more realistic, and I think this is one of the most amazing displays ever placed on such a budget-friendly phone. The whole combination, processor, big battery, nice display, and the dual speaker system make the gaming experience pretty decent. This will never be advertised as a true gaming phone, but I consider it to be the secret tip for best budget gaming phone of the year. Really, the Redmi Note 9T is enabled to perform well with almost anything you can challenge it with. Great for video playback, since it has the needed Widevine certifications. It can also run Netflix and similar services in maximum resolution. Speakers are fabulous, not the loudest, but with amazing frequency response, stereo. Processor and graphics will respond to any high-demanding game and offer decent experience. Concerning the essentials, phone calls are crispy clear, stable connection for both Wi-Fi and network reception. You can make the operating system perform according to your own needs, themes, tweaks, display calibration, hundreds of thousands of apps. You know, that's the beauty of Android. NFC is present too, for different purposes, including contactless payments. And there also is the legendary infrared blaster to retire all the remotes at home and use your phone instead. After so much praising, the few drawbacks I noticed: there's no wide-angle camera. The Note 9 Pro has such, by the way. No image stabilization with 4K recording here, no wireless charging, and MIUI still has its own opinion about the Bluetooth-based smart unlock module, and I think these are the only notable flaws. For a price of €230, I don't see anything better at this point in terms of battery life and performance. What I mostly admire is the fact that this phone is built to last. Xiaomi claimed that in their lab testing the battery shows sign of good performance for at least 3 years, and given the rest of the construction and the good protector, you can count on the phone for a really long time. Maybe one of the few devices coming close to it is the Realme 6 Pro, but without 5G, and Realme don't have the same proven record of long software support and updates. The value ratio of this phone is pretty good, so the expectation is that it's going to be really popular throughout the whole 2021 because of the really good package that is being offered at a very attractive price. And I think that, the Redmi Note 9T is going to become one of 2021's best sellers, but only time can show that. And yes, I can totally recommend it for what it offers at the given price point, but it's really interesting to hear from you. What do you think about the Redmi Note 9T? Would you go for a decent performing mid-ranger with all the nice things like expandable storage, dual SIM tray, and okay-ish camera? Or you would prefer something more premium, but also more fragile? Because, let's face it, there's no flagship without the glass back from 2020, maybe 2021. And that very easily cracks. So we can talk about all that in the comments right below the video. If you're looking for links to each one of the products mentioned, then the description that's containing all that information. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel for more cool tech inspections. My name is Michael, I would love to see you in the next episode. And now, wishes for a fantastic day. Bye!